What's up, y'all? It's your girl, Miss Amarachi, and I'm taking you behind the EP, giving you a little insight and behind the scenes view of my EP, Healing, that was dropped November 15th, 2023. I hope you all enjoy, and I hope you all learn a little bit more about the process of creating the EP. So, without further ado, let's go. So, in deciding to create the EP, and when making the EP, I actually already had two of the songs already created, Make It Through and I'm Alive. Those songs I created a few years ago, and I didn't really know where I wanted to put them. I knew that I liked the songs, but I didn't really know if I wanted to put them in a project. I wanted to drop them as singles, so I just kind of put them in my vault. And then I went through a long creative blur. It was really hard for me to create music or really anything. I was going through like a really, really rough creative time since I dropped my last project last year. And it was like hard for me to really think of any music, any content, anything to really put out. But the thing that kind of catapulted this new creative like burst was actually the passing of my grandmother. Rest in peace to her. My grandma passed earlier this year, and after her passing, I don't know, I just felt like a renewed sense of urgency with my music, a renewed sense of like, again, just creative like bursting, and that is when I wrote the remaining 4 songs on the EP, which were All Alone, Healing, Angel in the Sky, and Think Again. Of course, it started with Angel in the Sky because that song is actually about my grandmother. It was dedicated to my grandmother. If you hear it, you hear me talk a little bit about, gaining angels and just the importance of like caring for and loving the people that you have with you before they pass. And then I went on to be able to subsequently create the remaining 3 songs. And once those 4 songs were created, I was like, oh my God, like I have a project. But then I thought about the other 2 songs that I already had, and I was like, oh my gosh, I could put all these together and make a 6-part EP, which is what you all have been presented with, Healing. Essentially, each song talks about a different thing that you have to heal through. I'll be releasing the lyric breakdown so you can gain more insight into each song itself. But overall, the project is about the importance of healing through different patches in life, whether it's, healing through a death of someone very close to you, healing with certain traumas that you've endured, healing with losing people, not just, through death, but just losing people through life, and, people just moving on with their life and not really being in your life anymore, and healing just through like other things that you're going through in life. All the songs that I've created, as with all the music that I create, are things that I've either had to deal with or that I've watched people very close to me deal with. So these are all things that are based on true stories, true facts, and true experiences, which I think makes music even more better because I'm able to, again, like actually put down thoughts and ideas and just like experiences on a paper and create a song from it based on truth and not based on fiction or based on things I just saw or I like made up. So yeah. So in terms of the actual process of creating the songs in the EP, I've only worked with one other producer really in my life, and I've only dropped one song with a different producer. Every other song that I've ever released has been produced by my brother, which I think is like really, really cool because my brother knows my sound. He's obviously my blood brother, so he cares for me and he cares for my art, and he loves music just as much as I do. And so creating music with him and creating beats with him is like such a fun process because I'll kind of tell him what I'm thinking and he'll create something from scratch, or he'll present something to me like, hey, I was, making this beat. I think that you would sound great on it. And he'll send it to me and I'm like, yo, this is tough, or, can we change this BPM, or can we like move this instrument here? And so that process is like really cool, being able to experience music and creation with him. And so when usually what I'll do is like, because I used to live away from home, I'll just like start writing. I'll kind of have an idea in my mind and I'll just start writing a full song. And I like to write full songs before I go into the studio because time is money and I'm not going to be in the studio writing songs while my studio time is wasting. So I'll usually write a song or I'll get a beat from him. I think it was like a 50-50 process for this song. I don't remember, for this EP, I don't remember completely, but I do know that there were some beats that he had given to me and some that I didn't have, that I presented the idea of what I wanted the beat to sound like, and then he created it from scratch. And once I get the beats, I just kind of put them with the song. So I'll have an idea of what the tempo is for the song, what kind of flow or message or feeling I want people to feel when they have the song, and that will make me decide or help me decide if I want a fast tempo song or a slow tempo song or something in the middle. And then I just kind of put them together. And once I know what song and what beat goes together, I just keep practicing until I have the song memorized. So once I have the songs memorized, the beats are created, I then go to the studio. Now, the process of the studio. Since I was in LA, or since I lived in LA, I worked with the same engineer. His name is Alan from Mix Recording. Shout out to Alan. He is the best. I remember I just kind of went out on a whim. I found the studio and I went on a whim and I was like, hey, I want to work on some music. And instantly, the first time I was in the studio with him, it was magic. Before I even recorded Healing, the first song that we recorded together, I think was my EP, either Behind the Mask or it was I See You Sis. Whichever one of those came first is the first thing that I recorded with Alan. And the process was just so seamless. It was so easy. He made me feel very comfortable. And, I'm not sure if you all really know about the entertainment industry, but sometimes, as a female artist, it can be a little intimidated. It can be a little scary to be in a studio with men for the first time because of all the horror stories that I've heard in the past. But I'm here to say that I've never ever felt uncomfortable with Alan in the studio, whether I was with my brother or I was by myself. He's always kind of treated me like a little sister, kind of. And it's not just like a client and it's not just like a client-employee relationship type thing. It's more so like we are there together to create. He knows my sound to T now because we worked together for so long. He knows kind of, where to drop the beat to kind of bring up my vocals. He knows what kind of reverb and things to put in my vocals to make it sound better. He knows how to direct me in the studio like, hey, you're not giving it all the energy that I know that you could give, so do this over. Or like, I don't really like the way this sounds, or add this thing to it. And so I'm really blessed to have been able to cross paths with him, and I know that we're going to continue to work together and make great music. But back to the actual EP. So when I had the songs created, I was actually kind of on a tight deadline because I was coming home for the holiday, and I knew that I wanted to record these songs because I wanted to drop this EP before the end of the year. I had thought like, maybe I should just wait until next year to drop it, but I was just getting a lot of signs from God that I needed to stop hoarding music and I needed to release it. And, for me, releasing music is a healing process in and of itself. I'm not somebody who likes to talk about my feelings a lot, and so it's through music that I'm able to get how I feel out. And so, I was kind of on a tight deadline, so I worked with Alan and Mix Recording, and I was like, look, I need to record these 4 songs. I need to do these things. And so they were like, we got you. We'll get you in. When do you want to work? Like, we're ready today. And so we actually recorded these songs at night, which also gave it like a really weird, different feel. We recorded 2 of the songs on 2 separate sessions. So from 12 a.m. to 4 a.m. we were in the studio recording music, mixing it, everything. And it was, oh my gosh, it was like so transformative because, again, like when it's nighttime, it's like everything is still, everything is quiet, it's dark, there's no one else in the studio really, and it's just you and the engineer really just making magic. And I feel like magic was made both nights when we created the EP or the remaining songs from the EP, because we were really able to just lock in and not have any outside distractions. And it was like, it was an emotional process. There were songs that we were recording that I was crying, he was getting teary-eyed. There were times when we were upbeat, there were times when we were tired, like, all right, it's 3 a.m. and we are tired. Like, let's just crank out this last hour. But yeah, I'm very happy that we were able to, just get through the whole process and create and put the remaining songs on a track. And with Mix, one thing I love about that recording studio is that everything is mixed, mastered, and ready to go on DSPs, so digital streaming platforms, once you're done. So I didn't have to go find another mixing engineer. I didn't have to go find another mastering engineer. Everything was done, packaged, and given to me with performance tracks, acapellas, instrumentals, everything. And yeah, like I just really enjoyed the process, and I love being in the studio. So it was definitely an amazing time. Last but not least, of course, the cover art. So I work with a young man called JF Graphics. And I've worked with him for the past few covers that I've done as well, and his work is amazing. He's based in London, but I hit up Jay, and I was like, hey, I got a new project that I'm trying to do. This is the concept. This is what I'm thinking and envisioning, but I would love your input as well. And I'm also, just side note, I'm somebody who takes direction very well. So I recognize that I'm not an expert in everything. Music, even with music, I'm not an expert, but I'm like an expert in the music that I like and I like to make. But even with my music, like if there's something that someone says like, hey, maybe try this or try doing this way, like I always take people's input into consideration, because I recognize that there might be something that they see that I might not see. And so it's the same thing with like beats and mixing and with the graphics. I know what I have in my head, but sometimes the artist, the person that's actually the expert, knows something that could be better or could look better. And so I always like, I'm willing and open to hearing people out. Sometimes I take their advice. Sometimes I'm like, no, I don't really like that. Let's do this way. But I'm happy that I have people within my ecosystem that I can trust with my vision and with, my skill set. And so with the actual cover, I hit up Jay and I was like, hey, this is the project that I've coming out. This is the vision. This is what I kind of want to do. What are your thoughts? And he's like, hey, let's hop on a call. Let's talk through things. And it's funny because the vision I had in my head is not even what the cover art ended up looking like, which again, just shows you the evolution of like where the vision might come from and where it ends up. And so once we got on our initial call, we talked through the project, talked through some of the themes, talked through kind of what I was thinking. We were able to like do a vision board, and or he was able to do a vision board and kind of put everything that we had thought up together on a call on paper, and then we kind of talked through, a WhatsApp message, and ultimately this is the cover that you all see. So just talking through like some of the actual details. Healing is often equivalent or equated to therapy, which is something that I was also in for a long time this year, just through my healing journey. And so that's why I wanted to include the couch to kind of symbolize like the healing that occurs when you're in therapy, and the healing that occurred when I was in therapy. Shout out to my therapist. She's the best. She's the best. If you're watching this, you're the best. And so that's why I wanted to again like include the couch to symbolize like that healing journey. So that's why you see the couch. There's also a microphone to kind of symbolize like, for me, my therapy, part of my therapy is again through music. So when I get that microphone, I'm able to relinquish control and just kind of talk about everything that I'm enduring and, everything that I'm seeing around me, all the things that I'm ingesting from other people. So that's why I included the mic as well with the spotlight, again, to just kind of showcase that like when you got that mic, when you're in therapy, that spotlight is on you, and what you do with that spotlight is your decision. Whether you actually stand in that spotlight and speak your truth, that's your decision. If you step out of the spotlight, that's also your decision. And so that's kind of how the cover was created. And of course, the EP title is Healing, because that is the journey that we are going through on this EP. So, now that I'm taking you behind the EP, stay tuned as I go behind the lyrics to each song. I hope you all enjoy Healing, the EP by Miss Amarachi, which is available on all streaming platforms, anywhere you listen to music, whether it's Spotify, Apple, Tidal, Google Play, YouTube, Audio Mac, SoundCloud, Amazon Music, wherever you listen to music, it's available. So definitely share the music, stream the music, merch coming soon, music videos coming soon. Of course, I'm Miss Amarachi. Thank you for joining me today. Be blessed.